can have a moment while the rest of Aotearoa listens to me talking over a screen. Theoretically, good morning, Aotearoa. Welcome to Trending. Do not adjust your sets. This is how I'm supposed to look today. There's a bit of a backstory to all this. Had a chance to go to the Karen Walker show at Fashion Week last night, courtesy of my wife's invite, obviously. Nobody invites me to these things. And nor should they, by the way. She, on the other hand, very fashionable, very in demand. And so there I was as the plus one on the front row. And this is how she dressed me for the occasion. And I thought it would be such a waste to only wear this outfit for one group of people. So I thought, why don't I wear it all day today? And thus I have. Can I ask though for one thing, Josh? How warm are you right now?
Pretty warm.
Do you want to turn it down a bit in here? Because part of my commitment to the bit is I am wearing a scarf and a puffer jacket. So yeah, to say I'm fairly tropical right now is to undersell it. But how are you? Welcome along. Great to have you company. Great to have you back too, bro.
Hey, good to be back. Sorry to miss last week. Not feeling too well, but yeah, awesome to be back. Sorry, I'm also doing some technical things.
Bro, you multitask
the
away. That's quite all right.
What's his name? Owen.
Owen is such a legend. He's our behind the scenes tech guy. Wouldn't be without him. What a man. What a man he is.
What a man. What a
What a
man.
man. What a man.
Well,
What a mighty good man.
Don't
What?
sing too long. We'll get copyright struck.
Oh yeah. Do you know, guys know that, by the way? It's why we stopped playing clips from songs, is that we found the audio was cutting out and we were getting live copyright struck by Facebook. Who knew that was a thing? Perils of live streamed radio shows. Or is it perils of radio broadcasted live streams? Which came first? Chicken or the egg? Who's to say? What can I tell you about today? If you can't pick today's number one story, you have not been paying attention. I'll say it's pop culture related and that's it. That's more than enough, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's make sure I'm not on the right page here either. Let's fix that. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. That's better. That's better. How are we looking?
Looking good. People are going to be so confused if they just come in.
They can't see you got to see the pants too, by the way. Like this is the full look. My contribution was the socks. That's literally the only thing. Is that even coming up in the shot? Is that?
There you go. Camera's moved for you.
Oh, goodness me. I don't have enough flexibility for that.
You need to stretch more.
Tell me about it. Excuse me. Woo. What a week it's been. What a week it has been. Yeah, so this is what I wore to the show the other night. But, you know, when your wife starts cranking out the burgundy track pants, you're like, all right, this is going somewhere. I couldn't see how it was all going to come together, but everyone else gave me positive feedback. So, in fact, I'll probably put this on our Remus socials a bit later, but Josh, let me just show you because you're here. Mm-hmm. She sent me this earlier. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, gosh.
Out of 10, what do you reckon?
I mean, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Why would you not?
Exactly. I'll put this actually in our little chat with our social media team. Maybe they can throw it up on the Insta story or something. Let's try this guy.
Welcome to Trending, by the way. This is the pre-show. It's a little bit
Yes.
more quiet than normal as we get ready for a show on a Friday, taking a look at the trending stories from the week that was. This is what you tuned in to see, to the live stream. A man on your own social media, on his social media.
That's right. It's socialception is what it is. How many times do you think I should explain this outfit to people during today's show? Because if you just
Are you going to wear the sunglasses the whole time?
Yep.
It's going to be very, like, making eye contact is a key part of...
But I'll be looking at you. I think we have enough trust between us now that you know if I'm looking in your direction. Is this feeling like it's putting a barrier between us? A little bit?
A little bit, but I mean, I think I'll get over it.
I think you will.
Yeah.
I believe in you. I'll just have to reinforce through active listening, the fact that I'm listening to you and all that sort of thing.
Extra,
Big, exaggerated head nods. Oh, goodness me. Oh, gosh, we're nearly there. We're nearly there, guys. Just playing out some weather right now and then diving into some storage. Well, let's reset the list we've got here. Well done, by the way, restraining us to one sports story. I know it's always difficult to kind of...
Well, I feel like this sports story...
Well, you kind of had to.
We had to talk about it.
We kind of had to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
That one had to be done. Yeah. And then crying over spilt milk, I've thought, for the first story. It's the best way to talk about that.
Oh, well, yes, yeah. Quite exactly.
Woo. Man, you ever feel like the whole week has just been this big thing, and now like this is like the last big hurdle for my week? For you, I know you've still got another show after this too, so maybe it's not the same, but I'm like, I was feeling maybe like 80% about 3 days ago. I think I've dropped a few percent since then, so now it's just like, all right, we can do this. We'll get there.
Well, this is the highlight of the week, though.
It kind of is. It really is. It has its own energy. So, all right, let's get everybody else involved, shall we? Here we go. And those words out of 1 John chapter 5, verse 14.
Live on air and online. Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Do not adjust your sets. I am supposed to look like this. Welcome to Trending. That's a special message for those of you who are already on our live streams today. That's the point of difference for this current affairs show, where we go through the news stories that Aotearoa has been searching for. What have they been looking for in Google, as opposed to, maybe the stuff that leads your nightly news bulletins? Because there can be a difference, can't there, between what maybe the news agencies decided you should know about and the stuff that you want to know about. And so we go through those things with the help of Google. Also on those major news services, both in New Zealand and around the world, we're able to find out which stories were the most popular, which ones were the most clicked on. But to begin all this, we probably better explain the outfit, right, Josh?
We really better. If you want to see the outfit, which is flamboyant and extra and amazing, I would say, you need to find the stream. Head to rema.co.nz. Click on either the Facebook or YouTube links because you can join Trending live and view. It is a viewing experience as well. If you want to see what is going on, head to rema.co.nz. For those just listening, though, Andrew, what is going on? So
I had the opportunity to attend the Karen Walker and Adidas combined show last night for Fashion Week. Mm-hmm. Obviously not on my own merits. My wife was invited and given a +1 ticket. So there I was on the front row of Karen Walker and Adidas. And so naturally my wife decides to put an outfit together for me. You really put your life in somebody else's hands when they let you dress you to this extent. Like, this is, fair to say, Josh, not like anything I've ever worn before.
Did you get to choose your own undies?
Yeah, undies and socks.
Right.
Undies and socks was up to me. But everything else, I've got white sneakers. See if we can do this for the stream at home. We've got the white sneakers. Ugh, there we go. I don't know if that's coming up. The maroon burgundy track pants, grey top, khaki jacket, scarf of many colours, and then some rather extra Karen Walker sunglasses, which I am still wearing indoors, by the way.
I mean, hey, we've got one big massive window as part of the studio, and so there is a lot of light pouring in.
True.
So you know what? The sunglasses kind of work.
And they're not too dark. I can somewhat see what I'm doing.
That's good.
I was reminded of a quote that I will censor for our audience because stronger language was used in the original, from a guy called Larry David.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, familiar with him. Kind of a legendary comedy writer.
Oh, for sure.
He said there are two types of people who wear sunglasses indoors. Blind people and...
Others.
He had stronger words than others. So with all that said, thank you for joining us. If you are on the radio, of course, we are delighted to be in your home. Make sure you do contribute today by texting in 8168 with the first word REMA. But if you want to watch along with some of these stories as well, maybe jump into the chat. You've got another option today.
816, that's not the option. You can, of course, head to rema.co.nz and click on either the Facebook or YouTube links. And if you are watching the stream, just like Christy is, and she says repping NZ Fashion Week, Andrew, question mark?
That's right. Thank you, Christy.
Leave a comment below.
Yeah, rate my outfit out of 10.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Maybe rate Josh while you're at it as well.
Oh, it's so plain in comparison to you.
Yeah, but you know what? You've just got a better base to work from. Look at you. You angel-faced little individual.
Stop it.
Why don't we dive into our news stories from the week that was? Now, I should say, by the way, maybe we'll address this a little bit later on. Fashion Week not found in our search terms.
Nope.
Over the last week.
Not at all.
Kind of bizarre. Maybe the PR team dropped the ball on that one a little bit. What we were quite concerned about, though, was, crying over spilt milk.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Lactalis,
I think. Probably.
Lactalis.
Because you got lactose, right? So I'm imagining it's a lact and then so on. However, it is French. So lactalis, perhaps. The accent does not come across well in a Google search.
No. I imagine you might have had to. I imagine there was a lot of Googling of this term and getting it wrong and Google going,
Right.
Did you mean?
Yeah.
But this was number 29 trending here in New Zealand over the week that was. A lot of people wanting to know what is going on. This is linked, of course, to Anchor and Fonterra.
Now, Anchor, of course, just being a brand for a certain category of dairy products that Fonterra does produce. But the news came out that Lactalis has acquired Anchor Butter in a deal worth $3.845 billion. That is, let me just check, quite a lot of money. Yes. And so, yeah, we've gone and sold an iconic Kiwi brand to the French. How do we feel about this?
Well, do we care?
This is the thing. I feel like I'm supposed to care because, it's a New Zealand brand being sold to an overseas player. But if I'm being really honest, not sure if I'm that cut up one way or the other.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. There's an opinion piece that we found that is rather cut up, or at least this person who's written this piece is rather cut up. But what I more so care about is how expensive is my butter, milk, etc. going to be?
110%. So Lyle McFarlane wrote this for the Waikato Times, and the article itself says, by dropping Anchor, Fonterra is sinking its value-added future. So the article starts by saying, so our dairy giant Fonterra is getting shot of its consumer brands. What a weird turn of phrase. Including iconic Anchor butter and selling them to French dairy giant Lactalis in a deal worth $3.85 billion. In the process, Fonterra renounced any chance of being a value-added producer and its content to supply generic commodities to others. They couldn't do more economic damage if they blew up the Clyde Dam.
That was the line that really got to me.
It is a touch flamboyant.
OTT?
Do you think the US government would countenance the Coca-Cola brand being sold to Japan's Asahi or the Chevrolet mark going to China's GWM? Of course not. That would be ludicrous, as is this Kiwi cluster.
Yep.
If I am being a little more charitable to this interpretation, there is something to be said for when they're talking about being value added. They're usually talking about the fact that New Zealand makes a lot of raw materials, and there can be more money in refining those raw materials in-house than just shipping them overseas. So, just like untreated timber or just like milk powder and that sort of stuff. So Anchor butter, for example, was an example of taking the dairy that they receive and then turning it into a higher value product. And now they can't do that, of course, because they've sold us on to Lactalis instead.
Is this anything to do with tariffs?
Ooh, not really for us. Those tariffs are really just stuff that's going into and out of America. So it's a good question, though, because I think sometimes we believe that the tariffs will affect how much we pay for stuff from China and so on, which it won't. Those are all just America-centric things. If anything, they make other products from around the world cheaper or more accessible for us to get when they're not US-based.
So the question we asked at the beginning is, will this affect the price of our butter here in New Zealand?
And the answer is...
we don't know?
We don't really know. I mean, look, let's be honest. Fonterra haven't exactly shown themselves to be that concerned about how much we pay for our own butter, have they?
That is fair.
Yeah. So is this something you're concerned about today? Maybe that can be your first thing to chime in on if you don't already have opinions on my outfit today.
Get in touch, 8168, with the keyword Rima if you want to see the outfit, but also want to weigh in and watch trending. Head to rima.co.nz, click on either the Facebook or YouTube link. Can see that a few people are watching at the moment. If you are, hey, say hi, leave a comment in the chat. Let us know what you think about this story or, of course, this very flamboyant outfit.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Let's continue to see what other stories were really popular in the country and indeed around the world. Now, for this one, we're actually going to head to CNN. Very easy to understand why this might have been the most popular story on CNN during the last week.
Yes, well, there's a lot to unpack here. Thankfully, everybody was okay.
Yeah, so the number one story was about an F-35 pilot holding a 50-minute airborne conference call with engineers before the fighter jet crashed in Alaska.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think. Can you imagine if your Teams call or your Zoom call wasn't connecting, or you've got bad Wi-Fi?
True.
While you're trying to connect with a jet fighter pilot in the air, and he's waiting to know what he should do, and they're just going
boom, 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 boom. But wait, that's the Skype tune, isn't it? That's the wrong one. Yeah.
More iconic, admittedly.
I suppose so. And then, I don't know, leave an emoji in the chat or something like that when he's like flying through the air trying to figure out what's going on. We do have some video footage, and I guess the good news, the fact that the pilot did survive, means we can just appreciate how cool it is seeing a plane fly through the air and crash.
Oh, yeah. Massive fireball.
That is super cool.
Yeah, when he survived, he wasn't in the plane.
Yeah.
So that makes it cool.
He wasn't there. Exactly right. So with that said, if you are on the stream right now, we're going to play this out for you. If not, I mean, maybe I can narrate this for those who are listening via the radio. Here we go from CNN, and this is the number one story for them in the last week. F-35 pilot held a 50-minute airborne conference call with engineers before the fighter jet crashed in Alaska. And
this is the moment an F-35 fell from the sky during a training mission at an Air Force base in Alaska.
The pilot was executing standard procedures and executing their respective mission, and essentially experienced an in-flight malfunction that was able to safely eject, but resulted in the crash of the aircraft.
The pilot survived by ejecting from the aircraft and parachuting to the ground.
We're thankful that the pilot and those responding to the incident are safe, and will continue to conduct an investigation into the causes of this incident.
The F-35 is the most advanced and expensive fighter jet in the U.S. military.
That's not true.
It's not?
That's not true. That's the F-22.
Oh.
The F-22 is much more advanced and much more expensive. Fake news, CNN.
Wow.
Yeah, you ran into an amateur airplane buff. That's, I wanted to join the Air Force when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to join the Air Force until I realized New Zealand only has like Hercules and like marine patrol craft to fly. So I thought that's going to be a bit lame.
Did you really enjoy Top Gun Maverick?
Oh my gosh. Don't get me so off topic already talking about one of the greatest films of all time. That is overstating it, but no, I loved it. I love Top Gun Maverick.
By the way, just quickly going back to our previous conversation, because we've got a text from Michael. Thanks for getting in touch, Michael. He says, they sold off Anchor Butter, nobody buying it at their hyped prices, so not profitable at home. Will the new company drop the prices and charge a reasonable cost?
Short answer, mate. No.
Hopefully?
No. It's not going to happen.
No, probably.
Yeah, hopefully is also true. Hopefully is accurate. So from our perspective, hopefully from their perspective, no. People kind of forget, man, that these businesses are not charities. And so they have one obligation, and that is to return shareholder value. And so that is what they do. And if that means you have to pay $35 for a lump of butter,
$35. I mean, that's exaggeration, but like it feels in the realms of possibility.
Right. There is a world where that's possible. Yeah. So look, you can keep your thoughts coming in on this one. Coming back to this story and the accompanying video, now that we know the pilot was safe, $200 million though for one of these planes. $200 million. That is an insurance claim.
That's what I was about to say. Do you think they have insurance?
I don't know if you can.
Who would accept that insurance claim?
I mean, if you did, the amount you have to pay for it as well. Because when you think about what is its use case. Well, like it's not like, when you've got a car and you're saying, hey, I'm just driving to and from work versus this is a courier vehicle. You say, well, you're going to be in heightened risk of an accident because, of course, you're driving around commercially. Well, it's one thing to have a plane for transport's sake. We say, well, what's the purpose of this plane? War stuff.
Well, okay, this is a little bit off topic, but actually is also on topic because we talked about Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Do you know how expensive it is to insure Tom Cruise? Because he is.
No.
Yes.
What, like 100 million?
Mate, like staggering amounts. Even more than that, I'm pretty sure. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. But of course, because he does such crazy things in all his movies.
I literally came around on the guy because there was a period of time where I was like, ugh, Tom Cruise. But the dude is so committed to movie making. Even Top Gun Maverick, for example, they shot so much of it actually in the planes using dedicated camera setups they developed specifically for the film, just because he said, I don't want to do CGI, I want actual planes. Like, I was like, okay, that's super cool. That's pretty cool. You can be cool now, Tom Cruise.
I would say, as a bit of a film buff and somebody who's worked in film, that they did claim, however, that it was no CGI. That is absolute and utter BS.
Josh Beatty.
But it is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But it was. Look, that's not saying it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
He said, look,
you were fooled if you believe that.
Don't be fooled. Listen to Trending instead. Nothing will get slipped past you then.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
If you've just joined us, I'm wearing my outfit from Fashion Week last night. So jump on the live stream. It's worth that just for the price of admission, right?
It really is. I think that also justifies a slightly croaky voice.
Yeah.
You've had a great night, haven't you?
Well, the funny thing was, it wasn't so much the fashion show, because you kind of have to shut up when you're sitting there on the front rows. You can't really be saying anything. But then we went out with some friends afterwards, and it was a rather noisy restaurant. And so, when you're shouting at people for an hour and a half, I thought, this is not... It's not a good idea. Let's continue, though, to take a look at the other news stories that were trending in the country. This is somebody that I had never heard of, but what a way to make a name for yourself. Coming in,
my gosh.
At number 15, tell me about Bob Catter.
Okay, so as I understand it, because also I had not heard of this gentleman until this incident, but he is an Australian politician, and he recently was doing a press conference where he was rather critical of pro-Palestinian protesters.
Yep.
And he was asked about his Lebanese descent. Now, he has been rather cagey about this in the past because, you'll see the video, you'll hear the content. We've got two videos, in fact, because there's the moment that this interviewer asked this question, and the outburst that happened has sent this man skyrocketing in terms of the Google searches. This only happened, I believe, a day or two ago. So it's risen very quickly in the searches. And then he continued even after the interview had concluded to berate this man for racism. So take a listen or watch for yourself. By the way, rema.co.nz. Click on either the YouTube or Facebook links and see what you think about this.
Bob, you've got Lebanese heritage yourself.
Oh, mate, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years, right? So if you say anything like that, I have, on many occasions, punched blokes in the mouth, right? So I'm restraining myself today. Don't say it. I'm not listening to you. You're out.
Wow. I think, call me incredibly perceptive. He might be a bit sensitive about that. I just think, I'm reading between the lines here. My training in people development and coaching and so on. I'm detecting maybe a degree of anger, perhaps.
Yeah. Some deep-seated trauma, maybe.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean,
only a professional, though, could probably, really hone in on that moment and pick it apart. So
in case you were wondering, that's you're welcome. Whoa, that was a spicy one. Goodness me. I've punched guys how many guys has he punched in the mouth?
Apparently a few.
Well, he says that, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah.
We need a dedicated tally.
That's what you want to hear from your politicians as well, right?
Exactly. Threats of physical violence, punching people in the mouth.
They're a great orator, but they're also willing to just, sock it to somebody.
Really going to sock it to you. So, look, let's see how this continued to develop, because Bob wasn't done. And, I can see from the video here, for those of you who are just listening via the radio, he's got his fist clenched, waving it in the guy's face.
He's very close
to this very close.
reporter.
Yep. And so this is how Bob decided to peacefully resolve a matter that was otherwise escalating out of control.
What you've just said, without being identified as a racist, some gentlemen, ladies, this man is a racist. Don't listen to him, please.
Bob, doesn't he have the freedom to ask a question as a journalist?
No, he doesn't if he asks a racist question, which implies racism. I'm not going to answer it, and I don't consider him a proper Australian, a fair-minded Australian. He sees people as foreign because of their heritage. And that is very un-Australian. Very un-Australian.
My question was about people who come here with good values. Bob, can I just ask on this?
At this point, by the way, Bob had turned away from the camera.
The question there was, your family has brought a lot...
You stop now.
Whoa. No, he's not going to have it. Not going to have a bar of it as our Bob. Well, their Bob, not our Bob. They can keep him. But here's the real question, and you can chime in on this one on the text or in the chat. Was that a racist question? Was that a racist question? I'm actually going to go back to the original just so you can hear the question as it began, and you can decide whether or not this was a racist question to ask somebody. Here we go.
Well, you've got Lebanese heritage yourself. What would you
Oh, mate, don't say that.
Woo! That's enough of that energy. He basically just said, Bob, you've got Lebanese heritage yourself. Is pointing that out racist?
I'll refrain from answering.
Oh, come on.
Before we get some texts or some messages through, 8168 with the keyword Rima, or of course, leave a comment below if you're watching the stream. I won't say I'm going to change my opinion because of what opinions may come through.
Right.
I just do not want to sway the votes, as it were. Now, I want to see what you think. 8168 with the keyword Rima. Text on through, or of course, if you're watching the stream, rima.co.nz, YouTube or Facebook, and leave a comment below.
The other question, of course, is whether or not it's acceptable to, threaten to punch people in the face, which I think we have a more definitive answer on.
Yeah, we don't really need to put that out for
No, we're pretty clear on that one.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Yeah, we'd love to know your thoughts on that, though, too. Was that racist? Goodness me. Let's move on then in the meantime. We're going around the world, which is kind of nice because a few shows we've done, we've been able to focus on stuff happening in New Zealand. This time around, we're going to head to The Guardian in the UK. And one of the most remarkable things we've noticed about The Guardian, it is a UK-based website, but they love a bit of American news on The Guardian.
Yeah, now this story was trending in a few places, but certainly number one on The Guardian, as you say. CDC Director Susan, how do you say that last name? Manares ousted 4 weeks after being confirmed. A lot of people wondering what is going on.
So this is the Centre for Disease Control and Prevention. They obviously dropped the P off the end there, didn't they? I mean, otherwise it'd be the CDCP.
Maybe it is the CDCP.
Nevertheless, doesn't matter to her. She doesn't work there anymore. Let's see how ABC News decided to cover this story about Susan Manares being out of a job after only 4 weeks.
Breaking headline as we're on the air tonight, just in from the CDC, the sudden shakeup. The new director on the job for just weeks, tonight ousted. So what's behind her removal? And another major development involves the COVID vaccine this fall. The small group it's now recommended for. And the question tonight, will some Americans who still want the COVID shot still be covered by insurance? So let's get right to ABC's Rachel Scott with us here tonight on the breaking news. This new CDC director on the job for just weeks, already out tonight. What have you learned, Rachel?
Yes, David. Sources are telling us that CDC Director Susan Manares has been ousted from her position just weeks into the job. The Department of Health and Human Services, led by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., posting, Susan Manares is no longer director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. We thank her for her dedicated service. Manares, a staunch supporter of vaccines, and her ouster comes as Kennedy, a vaccine skeptic, moves to reshape the government's approach. Today, the FDA also narrowing the scope of people approved for the COVID vaccine this fall to those over 65 and younger adults and children with underlying medical conditions. So this does now raise questions about whether the vaccine would be covered for people who do not fall into those two categories, David.
And unclear if these two things are even linked in this announcement that the CDC director has been ousted, but big questions about her philosophy on vaccines versus RFK Jr.
And the FDA is still moving forward with those changes, David.
All right, Rachel Scott with us on the breaking headline. Rachel, thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, David. You're back to trending. It is Andrew Curtis here and Josh Beatty. We are looking at the news stories that were trending in the last week.
Hey, that wasn't too bad.
Thank you very much. Got a bit of practice doing this job by now. What do you reckon about this, though? CDC chair being kicked out after only 4 weeks on the job. It's kind of an ongoing saga, though, with RFK Jr. being a part of the Department of Health and his perspective on the COVID vaccine.
It's not really his fault that he looks like a supervillain, right?
Oh, my gosh. Great call. Well, and it is... I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to say it as well. The voice doesn't help.
No.
The voice doesn't help.
No.
My favorites have been, have you seen the stand-up routines where he takes a sip of water and suddenly his voice is fine? It's like, oh my gosh, all these years. I just needed to clear my throat. I'm so embarrassed. Yeah, I mean, changing the availability of the COVID vaccine, or rather, who can get it for free, I suppose, is the big thing here. Over 65s, and then people with health conditions and so on and so forth. Vaccine skepticism and so on. I mean, it's been a hallmark of RFK Jr.'s regime. Do we say regime? Tenure, perhaps, is a softer word to use?
Yeah, but I don't think it's more accurate. I would say quickly, going back to the Bob Cater story, we did receive one response that said, no, what a ridiculous question. I mean, it's not racist.
It wasn't even a question, was it? No. It was more, Bob, you've got Lebanese heritage. And so here's the thing I wonder, because look, Bob's not a young man. If you weren't able to view the video, maybe that doesn't come across, though you can probably tell by the sound of his voice, like the way he reacts.
Yes.
Yeah, he's an older chap. Maybe when he was a kid, when he was a youngin', he was teased for being Lebanese.
Potentially.
I reckon. Because do we actually know how old Bob is?
Oh, I could have a quick Google.
Have we Google on that one? But he looks like he's well into his 70s, I would say.
Is it also fair to say, what's with the cowboy hat? He was sporting in that interview, looks like a typical politician in the suit, but he's got a cowboy hat. And it screams to me more American than it does Australian. Then again, I guess Australian outback, you're wearing a wide-brimmed hat, but it's just kind of strange to see a politician.
He was inspired by the Māori Party.
Oh, there you go.
We have our own politicians in cowboy hats.
My goodness. If this is correct, and we're going to Google here, he's 80 years old.
So there you go. I'm thinking going back 80 years ago, I mean, that means the guy was born 1945. So chances are might not have been such favorable attitudes towards immigrants. In fact, I might have cracked this. Do you know about the One Australia policy?
No, I don't.
So historically, Australia literally had a policy where they only wanted white immigrants into the country. And it only really changed after the Second World War, because what they realized was, in order to have a sufficient population to grow the country so that if they ever had overseas aggression, they would need to broaden the number of people who were able to come into the country. So they went from predominantly just white people from, say, England, that sort of thing, European people, to a broader swathe, shall we say, and a lot of Middle Eastern people. There's a large Lebanese community, also like, say, Italian, Greek, Turkish, that sort of thing, who came to Australia post-World War II. But you had a country that was very ingrained in this white Australia mindset, ethos. Ethos was the fancy word I was looking for, but mindset also works. So chances are you might have had a bit of a rough ride if you were growing up in an Australia that was still coming to terms with this white Australian heritage. So that's what I'm hearing is maybe more of a reaction to what he might have dealt with when he was a kid.
It's one of those moments where you can justify, well, you can't justify it. You can find some logic in the response, but it doesn't justify the outburst. It does not justify shaking your fist in a reporter's face and saying, I've punched blokes in the mouth for less.
Yeah. So I still think, too, there'd be some fun in finding how many blokes that actually is. I feel like it was probably happened at school. This is my reading between the lines. If we can apply, dare I say, making a life lesson out of this whole thing, for those of us who deal with emotional outbursts from people, it is great to recognize that, you're not really dealing with the content of the question. You're dealing with the thinking that person has going on inside their own heart, within their own mind. And you look at that first up and you think, numpty. You think of unkind words. Numpty is a good one. What a numpty. What's going on? And then you realize, well, maybe this guy, when he was growing up, had this sense of being reminded that he didn't belong. This was like his whole life. And he feels like he's put that all behind him. Then some guy brings it up again and he's suddenly 8 years old, back in the school playground, and he's off.
Yep.
So, we started off all very judgmental of our Bob. Now maybe a little more understanding, but I think you make a great point too, Josh, that you can understand stuff without accepting it.
Yes.
So there's our life lesson today.
You can still be loving and kind.
Yeah.
But not also justify wrong and evil, might be a bit of a stretch, behavior.
Yeah. But let's just say the occasions to which you can morally punch a person in the face are limited. And this is not one of them.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
For your thoughts on when you can punch someone in the face, you can also text them through to us today. Or otherwise, share your thoughts on other things in the chat.
8168 with the keyword Rema. That is the text. Or, of course, leave a comment below if you are watching on the stream. A lot of people are watching on the stream. Say hi, leave a comment. We would love to know what you think of Andrew's outfit. I do wonder what people who because we asked the question before we even came live on air. We were on the stream in the pre-show, how often we need to address it.
Yeah.
And maybe we shouldn't have just addressed it. Maybe we should have just moved through. But I do wonder, like I could see the numbers sort of fluctuating on the streams, and I wonder if people are clicking through and going,
this is not my show.
What is going on?
This is not for me. The backstory is that I was at Fashion Week last night with my wife. She was invited to the Karen Walker show. So this is a Karen Walker jacket, by the way. And these are Karen Walker sunglasses that my wife owns. But fortunately, she loves oversized jackets. So this fit me fine. And then sunglasses, of course, one size fits all. I wore this last night. And so then decided, look, I'm not going to go to all this trouble, dress this outrageously to not wear it as well today, where you guys can all have a look as well. So there we go. That's the backstory for you. That's why if you've wondered what happened to your favorite news and current affairs show, it's still happening, just with a one-off flair for the dramatic, shall we say.
Amen.
With that said, let's take a look then in New Zealand at the number 2 trending news story. And for this one, we're heading to stuff.co.nz.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you are aware of this, Andrew. This is connected to another story about potentially the ability to have your driver's license and WAF on your phone. That is a new bill that may be coming to pass, is being pushed through at the moment.
Yeah.
But a gentleman recently went and got his WAF.
Yep.
Everything all good, but was still fined. It wasn't his fault, and now finds himself in a little bit of hot water, shall we say.
And interesting too that this is turning up on stuff.co.nz, because we've noticed Stuff has this tendency towards human interest stories, also vying for the number 1 spots with other maybe more traditionally substantial news and current affairs related activities. So let's take a look at this one from stuff.co.nz. It was the second most popular story in the last week. Driver fined over WAF blunder, but it wasn't his fault.
So we went and got a WAF, and my wife took her car to work and got a $200 ticket for not having a WAF, even though it did. It was current, road legal. Posted a post on the East Auckland Grapevine, and so one of the commenters pointed out that the sticker was actually punched incorrectly, which I wrote back to AT explaining this, and went back to the WAF shop, and he said, gave me a new sticker, and it's been 3 weeks since I've contacted AT, and I've had no reply at all, and they gave me a $200 fine for having an incorrectly punched sticker.
Must have been a bit of surprise when you saw on Facebook someone mentioned about the wrong hole being punched on the sticker.
I did feel a bit silly because I just overlooked it. Because main thing I was looking at was the date, and it was within date, so I didn't even think to look at the punched hole. But like I said to the guy, people make mistakes. I don't think it deserves a $200 fine. WAFs only cost $60, not but the thing is they haven't even tried to rectify the issue, or tell me that to waive the fine, for a simple mistake that the guy made. But it's just ridiculous.
And the guy who made the mechanic, he's obviously apologised and said, I'm sorry.
He felt a bit silly too, and he said that if AT want to have a chat to him, he's happy to have a talk.
That's got to be like a public relations nightmare for AT, with something that you could have resolved so easily. Because I've had this happen before where, the little sticker envelope that your rego goes in?
Yep.
Mine had fallen off the glass of the windshield.
Gotcha.
And so I got a $200 fine for that. But I was able to just say, no, it just fell off. Look, here's a picture of it. It is current. I just needed to replace the thing. And they waived it in no time. So in this case, though, somebody's turned up to a mechanic's workshop. I love thinking about the backstory with this kind of thing. Like here you've got some dude who's just been... It's a fairly innocuous story if you ask me, but for some reason this has warranted a camera crew and a journalist heading to your workplace, miking you up.
And a whole bunch of clicks as well, as we said. Number 2 trending on stuff.co.nz. Just quickly, by the way, Andrew, Susan's got in touch on the stream to say the outfit okay, except for the sunglasses. Ooh. Absolutely OTT.
I mean, you are right. That is
over the top, by the way.
That is absolutely correct. And that is the point. So, shall I wear these again? Unlikely.
Yeah. This is a special edition of trending.
Notice how I didn't say I'll never wear them again? Because even I don't have full control of my wardrobe, which will come as a shock to nobody whose wife is more fashionable than they are. So every now and then she'll hand me a thing and be like, you're wearing this. And I'm like, are you sure? So, nevertheless, thanks for your thoughts on that. Remember, you can chime in on it.
You do look like you should be playing the piano, I would say.
Oh, really?
A bit of Elton John-esque kind of vibes going on.
Oh, yeah, true, because the scarf and such as well. I'm just kind of upset that people can't see the pants. I feel like the pants are really... I'm just going to do this again one more time, everybody. Here we go. Look at that. Look at this. Burgundy track pants. What's going on? I thought this was Rima. The Lord does not approve of How did I get my foot? Hang on a minute. I've just tangled my leg around my headphone cord now.
Yeah, it's really undercutting the fashion.
Right. Well, as you see, I'm still learning how to move in this fashion.
I would also say, and this is quite genuine, the stream numbers did just peak.
There you go.
Like, quite genuinely. Like, that's not even that is not a joke. Just a couple more people on the Facebook channel just recently popped in.
What is going on with this guy today? So now you know. Coming back to this story, though, in some ways it's a bit of a nothing story.
Oh, very much so.
But super popular, maybe because everyone's been fined. Have you been fined for your wife before?
Oh, gosh.
Okay, take a breath. Take a breath.
We got a letter in the mail saying you haven't paid your fines for it was either parking ticket or WAF. I think it was parking ticket, in fact.
Yeah.
And you haven't paid. You've received a number of notices and you're yet to pay. So now it's going to court and, the fine is massive and you're at risk of losing your license. That was the first notice we'd received of the whole thing.
Wow.
So we had to go through about a few weeks of calling the AT and then calling...
Was it Bay Corp, I think, who they passed the fine on to?
Yeah, potentially. And then it was also not lawyers, but anyway. But we had to go back and forth and be like, hey, literally okay to pay the original fine. Didn't realize, but
we haven't been notified.
We haven't been notified, and it seems apparently now we're going to be due in court soon. So yeah, that was a whole rigmarole.
Did you get through it in the end though? All sorted?
Yeah, but it just took so long.
And that's the thing about it, eh? It's the life tax. It's not so much even just the fine itself. Because I've been guilty of that too. I've let warrants and regos fall before and then had to, pay for the privilege. Josh's face is suddenly flashed with the look of a man who's going, wait a minute, when is my warrant?
No. I've actually quite literally. So I arrived at work before and I've parked on the road. And parking payment doesn't start until 9 a.m.
I see. So you're 43 minutes illegal.
I can't believe I've just admitted that on air, but
people don't know your registration. It's fine.
That's true. Well,
nobody knows your registration.
Not illegal
Can I see it from here though? Where is your car?
No, I
can't see it.
It's around the corner. I'm not going to flash.
I can't see
my phone on the screen either.
Okay, very good.
I can't. I'm so glad that story popped up. That was very specific.
Just for you, buddy. As a side note, by the way, there's a really cool letter on Money Hub in New Zealand. If you ever get a fine for a parking fine, it's a great letter you can send in because there are some legal precedents about how much you can fine someone for parking too long, because sometimes they'll try and fine you like $200 or something for parking too long, and you can be like, no, this parking thing was like $4 an hour. I was an hour late. I'll send you $5.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
my wife, by the way, got in touch on the stream to say the first letter was from the Ministry of Justice.
Ooh.
That's why it was like, oh my gosh,
the Ministry of Justice. But it was an injustice.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Let's move now to a very serious story that I think has farther-reaching consequences than you might initially think. This is number 5 in the country. Shane Christie.
Yes, so the death of Shane Christie, a well-known rugby player, and this in connection to concussion. A lot of conversation around this, and certainly a lot to unpick.
So what makes me think about the significance here is more the Will Smith movie, back made when, it was okay to watch Will Smith movies. It's a whole other topic of conversation. But that was specifically, I think it was called Concussion, wasn't it?
It was indeed, yeah.
And it was about the NFL, so the American Football League, and the fact that they were hiding information around brain trauma, or specifically CTE, which is, I think, stands for something that off the top of my head I can't remember. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Wow. Would not have guessed that.
So it's basically what happens when you bang your head around a lot, which in American football you can imagine happens quite regularly, until you realize it must happen a fair amount in rugby as well.
Oh, for sure.
And that's where the concern starts to come in.
I have a personal connection to this story in the sense that, so this is the number 5 trending story over the week that was, the search term Shane Christie. So me and my wife have talked about in the future having children and if they wanted to play rugby. Now, my wife, and I understand wholeheartedly why, has said absolutely not because of this very reason, because of the high risk of brain injury and the side effects that can have long lasting. And she is so 100% correct. And part of me, though, in this conversation, and it's been a back and forth that we'll have to cross when we do actually have children. Maybe they will have no interest in rugby, but we live in New Zealand. And I feel almost for any, at least, young boy, at some point in their life, the dream to be an All Black does exist. And so it will be a difficult conversation if that becomes his legitimate dream or her legitimate dream, by all means, kind of thing. But if one of our children, really starts to develop this desire to play rugby, it may be a very difficult, and it's going to be potentially detrimental for our relationship as child and parent to say no to that. So what do you do? How do you approach that healthily in a good way? It's all theoretical at the moment, but who knows?
Great question. I've had the same thought. Genuinely, I've had the same thought. And we'd love to know your thoughts on this as well today. 8168 with the first word Rima, or jump into the stream. You go to rima.co.nz under the Facebook or YouTube links. You can jump into the chat and let us know. But yeah, have you had thoughts around this as well? I think for many, or maybe for most, who play a bit of sport, play a bit of rugby, say through high school, it's going to be fine. But particularly for those who play professional sport, professional rugby, and in the forwards as well, where you're much more, in the impact over and over again, tackling people. It's not even necessarily getting hit in the head, although it can be that. Just the constant being knocked around can add up over time. So in Shane's case, he had said that he wanted his brain to be studied because he suffered from the effects of multiple concussions, and then, of course, was found dead in his home in Nelson, aged only 39.
Yeah, and what a crying shame.
Yeah.
So early to lose such a iconic individual. I mean, so early to lose anybody.
Yeah.
39 is far too young. And so, again, the justification for dissuading a young person from contact sport like rugby, here, it makes a lot of sense.
Have you thought about this? Have you had this conversation? Would love to hear from you on this. You can text in 8168 with the first word Rima. When it comes to your kids playing sport or rugby in particular, have you had conversations about this regarding the kids' long-term health and well-being? Would you draw the line? Would you say no? Do you think it's all right, just a rite of passage? You can also let us know in the chat today.
8168 with the keyword Rima. That is, of course, how you get in touch via the text or the chat. Head to rima.co.nz. Click on either the Facebook or YouTube links.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Speaking of rugby, though, interestingly, at number 2, what a slap in the face for our national sport. But kind of understandable why All Blacks versus Argentina might not quite have had the level of support they would have hoped for.
Well, I think we're talking about it more so because of what happened. I think this wouldn't be trending so high if the All Blacks had have done what we expected them to do.
What they're supposed to do.
What they're supposed to do, in fact, apparently, all the time, and won.
But they didn't. They lost to the... Is it just me, or do we never used to lose to Argentina and now we lose to them all the time?
Oh, well, this was the whole point of the Rugby Championship and them being included. It was to raise their skill level because they would be competing against the All Blacks, the Springboks, the Wallabies, year in, year out.
Sure.
And it has done exactly what it was supposed to do, but also we're not too happy about it.
Well, is it fair to say, too, the All Blacks maybe not at the heights that we would have expected them to be over the last couple of years?
They have certainly fallen off as the dominant force that they used to be. They are no longer the Invincibles, which is actually a team from way, way back. But they are no longer kind of just... The sheen has been removed. Also, by the way, just quickly going back to our last story, Charmaine got in touch on the stream to say it's a risk. Everybody has to weigh up the pros and cons for themselves.
You just turned your mic off.
For themselves.
That wasn't me. I was talking about rugby, by the way, and whether or not kids should be playing. Would you allow them to play? For how long? And those sorts of things. So you're welcome to keep sharing your thoughts on that one as well. It is a, no pun intended, highly impactful topic because it's caused by repeated brain injuries, repeated concussions. That was what happened with this former rugby player who passed away, Shane Christie. So whether or not this has affected whether you think your kids can or should play rugby? You can let us know your thoughts. In the meantime, let's come back to this discussion around the All Blacks versus Argentina and some of the discussions being had about what happened and why it is a crime against sport.
I don't care about the rest of the world. I just want the All Blacks winning 80% of their games. I don't want this kumbaya malord, this, hey, let's just have the socialist model where everybody's a winner. We're the damn All Blacks. It's what we do.
Still passionate. I mean, the pitchforks were out for Ian Foster not long ago. So as a country, we are still very passionate when the All Blacks lose. Don't you worry about that.
I think we can beat them, mate. And if we do beat the Springboks and beat them twice, Mark, we won't be talking about that defeat in Buenos Aires.
You'll be apologising to us.
Apologise to me!
Goodness me. The absolute state of it. Can I tell you, by the way, I may have shared this pearl of wisdom, but I'll share it with all of you listening again to us today and watching via the stream to this remarkably dressed man. To talk about sport, you just need a strong opinion and the ability to not back down. And that's clearly what this has been modelled on today.
Well, look, I mean, the strong opinion of the entire nation seems to be that it is unacceptable for the All Blacks to lose. I mean, it's partly why it was trending so high over the week that was. It's like, how? A lot of people asking why this isn't good enough, apparently, because we are so invested in rugby.
I keep maintaining there's only one person who's happy about this result.
Ooh, who's that?
Ian Foster.
Well,
you remember when Ian Foster was in charge? So he takes on the charge of the All Blacks after the retirement of Scott Hansen and then Steve Hansen. And then things don't quite go to plan. Everyone starts to lose faith in Ian Foster, and the number of people calling for Scott Robinson to take over becomes high. It's like, oh, this guy's led the Crusaders to multiple championships. He's the man, blah, 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 blah. And then he takes over, and then wah, wah. Yikes. Tough job, though.
I mean, it's not just down to one person. It never is going to be. That's the thing.
And yet we are unhappy. Or are we unhappy? Are this just a very small
vocal minority?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's an extreme minority.
No.
I'd say maybe 25% are really passionate about this. But otherwise, you're just like, yep.
Well, so I watched the first game.
Yep.
We won, as we were supposed to.
Correct.
I didn't watch the second game. Just didn't find the time. I was surprised to find out that we lost. I was like, and that is what prompted me to go, if we had won, I would have been like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have gone and watched the replay. I wouldn't have gone and looked at some articles.
So you went and watched the replay because we lost?
Correct.
Because I will only watch a replay if we won.
Interesting.
I don't want to watch a replay if we lost.
Well, I feel like if we won, I'm usually like, oh yeah, what, like...
Interesting.
What I'm going to see what I expected, but if
there's a spin-off question to this too. Do you watch replays if your team loses?
No. Oh, well, yes,
you
obviously
just said you did.
Sorry, it's weird. I just realized when it comes to basketball, no. I love the NBA.
Yep. And if the Golden State Warriors win,
I want to watch that replay again and again.
Yep.
But I don't know why is with the All Blacks. I'm like, again, I think it's the expectation.
Interesting.
That they're gonna win, and so the watching comes down to, well, how did that happen? How
has this affected you on a deep physical, spiritual, psychological level? Let us know today what your thoughts were on this one or any of the other topics we've talked about today. Do you want your kids playing rugby? That's been an interesting one that we've talked about today. What else did we ask questions about earlier on in the show?
Oh, well, about whether or not it was a racist question that was asked to Bob Cater.
Yeah, or racist statement, I suppose, when they pointed out that his family was Lebanese. But we all had a personal growth moment around that.
We did indeed. A man we knew nothing about until trending appeared.
And so let's talk about our number one story.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Someone you might feel you know too much about. And that is Taylor Swift and her boyfriend, Travis Kelce.
No. Not her boyfriend.
Not her boyfriend at all. Her fiance.
That is the big news.
Oh, boy, was that the big news. I mean, again, to give you context in New Zealand, the All Blacks in Argentina relegated to the number 2 spot in our Google searches this week because Tay-Tay, out in front by 1,000 miles. So let's first up see what ABC had to say about this in the US, announcing the engagement that shook the world.
We want to turn now to breaking news here on ABC News Live. It is just developing. It was just put in my hand. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have announced that they are engaged. The Grammy-winning mega pop star and Kansas City Chiefs all-pro tight end announced.
By the way, I love how every time the story gets read, people run their credentials together. So she's a 12-time Grammy-winning Grammy artist and a NFL-winning tight end. It's like, what
she'd be the most incredible person in the world.
What a personality. Anyway, this is what else they had to say.
Announced the news on Instagram just moments ago. Cheers erupted in this studio when they did so. They posted these images that you see on your screen. Kelsey down on one knee. The caption reads, quote, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." This comes less than 2 years after the two went public with their relationship in October of 2023, and just weeks after the singer made an internet-breaking appearance on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, New Heights. I guess you can say, as our team scrambled to write as this breaking news developed, quote, "I guess you could say Taylor found her love story." Breaking news at this hour here on ABC News Live. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged.
That's not your best work. That's not your best work. The best ones that I saw was that it's a love story and Taylor said yes.
Yeah.
Because that's the lyric from the song. So boo ABC, you call yourself Swifties. I'm not even a Swiftie, I know better than you. Boo, I say. Still, I mean,
there was cheering. There was cheering in the studio.
It is cute. It is a cute look. Very easy to be cynical about all this kind of stuff, but I'm happy for her.
I'm a little cynical.
Are you?
My discovery, I love this. My discovery of the fact that they were engaged is I was on stuff prepping for a different show outside of Trending. I know. Can't believe it.
Unbelievable.
How could I?
Yep.
The unloyalty. Disloyalty?
The unwordiness.
That's right. Scrolling down and, stuff has their regular polls that they ask. And they asked, do you care about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift getting engaged? I said, well, no, because I only found out because you just asked this question. Clicked on no, 90% to 20%, no, 10% obviously, at least of people engaging on stuff agreeing with me. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Why don't we care about love anymore, Josh? Why don't we care about love anymore? What's happened? You cynical old dogs. Look, happy for her. Also been a lot of discussion too about the rock that she was gifted. Seems to be the trend right now to have enormous diamond rings. And so she's no exception.
She's going to be dragging her arm on the ground. It's so heavy.
Well, good thing it's a diamond though, right? She'll be leaving a little trail behind her. It'd be great for the Swiftie fans to be able to track her down. Where'd she go? Well, just look for the scuffed up ground
track
behind her. She's dragged her diamond on the ground. That was your number one story. Are you shocked? Are you dismayed? Do you want to share a little more with us? Well, we better head through into the news. So it's time for us to wrap up today's show. But again, been a real pleasure going through the top news stories from the week that was. This has been trending. We're going to stick around on the live stream for a few more minutes, so do make sure you join us. Head to rema.co.nz, click through on the YouTube or Facebook links, and otherwise, we will catch you again between 9 and 10 next Friday for another round of trending. I'm Andrew Curtis. Thanks for being part of the show. Wow. Is there anything more really to say about Tay-Tay, though?
Not really.
Not really, eh? It's just like, okay.
It seems like the natural progression of their relationship.
Well, no, the natural progression is that they stay together for a few years and they break up and then Taylor writes an album about it.
That's a good point. I guess it seems like the natural progression for a normal person.
I did read something that I thought was quite adorable. That was how Travis even met her in the first place. That apparently he declared his, I don't know if it was his affections, but definitely his interest in meeting Taylor Swift, and he'd gone along to one of her shows for the Eras tour, and he'd made a friendship bracelet, which apparently is a thing that people did at the Eras tour, and, was unable to give it to her. And so talked about, his interest in meeting her and, getting her phone number and this sort of stuff. Then apparently she had a whole bunch of friends and family saying, like, oh my gosh, you should totally do it. He's an amazing guy, like blah, 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 blah. And so eventually she caved in, and then, the rest is history.
So it seems to me that even celebrity relationships still have just that classic
right
back and forth.
Who amongst us has not met our significant other via a podcast?
But I more so mean just like the friends and, oh my gosh, I'll just better, just...
You know what I'm going to do?
All that high school drama, as it were.
What I do want to talk about on the Rema Breakfast show next week, but maybe you could use this for your own show as well, was just this idea of how people have been introduced to their significant other by somebody else.
All right.
Like, were you set up in some fashion or, something like that?
How many successful relationships came out of a setup?
Because I used to hate that, man. I used to hate when people tried to set me up with stuff. And
but you and I both kind of set ourselves up because we both
Exactly.
found our now wives.
Yep, on our own with no help from anybody.
Well, through dating apps.
No help from anybody. Oh, look, it's kind of cute. I hope it works out for her. I hope it works out. It's a tough world to live in.
Charmaine's got in touch, by the way, to say it's wonderful that they have decided to marry instead of living in sin.
That is true. That is true. Do you think, I've actually heard some interesting pushback culturally these days about the value of getting married, and it's kind of coming back around again. Because people finding just this serial monogamy, shall we say, is not really working out, and that there maybe is something more to it. The one that annoys me, and I still can't believe it gets airtime, is when people talk about the fact they're not getting married because we don't need a piece of paper. We don't need a piece of paper for our relationship. And I'm always like, I want to be the one there to say, like, that's amazing you say that, because when my wife and I got together, we talked about how much we really wanted a piece of paper. Like, that was the number one thing. Can I just get a piece of paper with someone? And then when I proposed, I said, Aki, will you get a piece of paper with me? And she's like, oh my God, my whole life I've wanted a piece of paper.
Do I get to sign it?
Oh my gosh, that's the number one. I mean, that's the biggest straw man that you only say to a bunch of other single losers. And by the way, you can be single and not be a loser, but I just think if you are indulging in that kind of like self-distortion, come on, get a grip.
I just imagine your wedding photos, you know, that classic like high school holding the certificate, shaking
each other's hands.
We did it.
Or maybe the three-way shake. We can have like, you know, the John Key handshake from the World Cup?
Yep.
So it's like me and then Aki and then like the celebrant coming in over the top with a certificate in their hand.
Sufficiently awkward.
That's right. Well done, team. High five. Play the exit music, and you're out. What else? What else did we have a chance to go? I mean, that Bob Catter story, we got a lot more out of than I expected when I first saw it.
Wow. I mean, again, that's a fascinating one because this man, an unknown, at least to us, obviously here in New Zealand, until he sprung to life in terms of the trending results, because it was only a couple of days ago that this incident unfolded. And so it rose very quickly, excuse me, in the trending results. And you can see why.
I'm actually going to do a wee quick Google here on the old White Australia. And it was brought in 1901 to limit non-European migration. And let me just see. Yeah, official abolishment considered to have occurred after World War II. Sometimes you wonder, what value is it, just being broadly interested in everything? And then on moments like this, I get to deliver absolute pearls. I'm quite proud of myself. We support proud of yourself on the show.
It's okay to
in the healthiest terms.
Pat your own back.
Exactly. Not as many comments on the outfit as maybe I thought we might get.
Well, no. I mean, we got that specific one from Susan.
That's true. Appreciate that.
Again.
It was a bit of fun. If you do want to check it out in its full glory, we're going to put it on the old socials for Rima Breakfast a little bit later on. So it's Rima Breakfast NZ if you want to have a look at the outfits.
You look like on the stream, I can't lie, such a diva. Like you should snap your fingers and somebody is going to bring you
like an
your
espresso.
Coffee. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not a latte. It's going to be like a short black or some tiny little, pretentious thing. So,
oh no.
Yeah. Oh man, it was fun. They did actually. Oh, I should have told this story. So while we were there, somebody from Radio New Zealand came up to us and asked us, if they could interview us and what was going on, and we were like, okay, sure, go for it. And we start off, and she asks me the opening question. And she goes, there's often this overlap, I'm paraphrasing here, this is how I remember it, overlap between sport and with fashion. Why do you think that is, that sport and fashion often have these collaborations and crossovers? And I was like, I got nothing, love.
It's your job.
And then Aki kind of dived in and saved me because obviously, for those of you who are not aware of this, my wife is the fashionista by a great stretch.
Yes.
And so
she's the reason you're in that world.
She's the only reason I was invited. Nobody invites me to these things, and nor should they, by the way. Like, goodness me. So it was just so funny. I was like, I don't know. Help me, please, wife. I looked at her and she interpreted my
plea for help
very well.
Can I join the party?
Yeah, bro, come on in. Jump on in. Andrew Urquhart in the studio. This is great. Mate.
I wanted to check whether or not
here we go.
And I know you're still live streaming, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, come on then.
I wanted to know whether the news had not started yet because I was very concerned about my show. But
No, the news is up. We're going. I'm going to put in a shorter song for you to kind of.
No. I'll back announce the song.
Oh yeah, okay, you're all good. How about this one here? The 10th Avenue North. Can I shorten that one up?
riveting stuff now on the stream, by the way. Now you get to see the real exclusive behind the scenes.
This is me
This is the post-show of Trending.
Well,
I'll tell you what, we'll hand over you in a second anyway, mate. You can do what you will. How's that?
That'd be great.
How's that? What do you think of the outfit?
Today. I didn't even notice.
Joe, pull the microphone up so people can talk to you. Come on, or at least hear you rabbiting away. Go on,
I
then.
did not even notice anything different.
Shut up. The nerve of this guy. Mind you, mate. I mean, you do pretty well your own self, just quietly.
Yeah, I could not rock those glasses though. Come on.
Yeah, but I couldn't rock that hat. Like, you've got a head for hats. I just don't. I can't wear a hat.
Yeah, you did rock that hat for the Oppenheimer thing. Come on, man.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe you're just self-conscious about the size of my
The
head.
REMA law that is being dropped just casually here. Like, if people don't know the Oppenheimer thing, they've got to be asking, what in the world?
Yeah, you've still got your Oppenheimer hat on your desk, haven't you?
I did. I actually don't know where it is right now. That's a good point. I might have stuffed it into the bin.
Wasn't me, bro.
Look, you know what? You'd be welcome to it. You could take any of my hats if you wanted to.
You can keep the glasses.
Do you have any other thoughts on these ones we talked about today, mate? We had we were talking about Bob Catter before and him losing his mind at the journalist and threatening to punch him in the face.
Yeah. No thoughts whatsoever.
No thoughts on
him? As
him?
a journalist, though, I'm on the side of journalism, not punching. Is that fair?
Are you interviewing anyone today about the lasting cultural impact of Taylor Swift?
We did that on Wednesday.
Oh, really?
Breaking news. Yeah,
naturally.
Off the market, everyone deserves a happy ending. Haters gonna hate. What can I say?
This is basically what I thought about it as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to love her music to at least be like, hey, look.
Of course I love her music. I mean, come on.
Who doesn't?
I could take it or leave it, if I'm being brutally honest. But, mate, we should do this more often, just busting much earlier.
Look, I just didn't want to, mess with what you're doing, but I don't know. Maybe
we did run a minute or two after. You're right. I realize that.
I do have a show to be getting on with.
All right.
Not wanting to be that guy.
Well, you probably should, though. That makes sense to me. So, right, we're going to hand over to Andrew Urquhart then.
Stay listening for my show.
You really should.
But not live streaming it.
What's coming up?
Euthanasia and more changes to euthanasia.
Yep.
We kick off with that one.
Bro, I love that for a Friday.
And the Māori by-election a little bit later in the program. Just, see if we've got room for Taylor Swift in amongst there.
Right. Well, stick around, keep Andrew company, and send him your thoughts and comments as well. Loves a thought and comment is our Andrew Urquhart. 8168 with the first word REMA if you want to text those in. But we will see you next week. God bless. Thanks very much. Bye.